Shame is a profoundly painful emotion. It can stem from feelings of inadequacy, defectiveness, or unworthiness of love. Shame can be experienced socially or in isolation. Though similar to embarrassment, shame is often more intense and persistent. It can arise from thoughts such as, "Why didn't I handle that situation better? What's wrong with me? They probably won't like me, or they'll think I'm a loser. Why can't I figure this out? Am I stupid? Am I a bad parent? I shouldn't have shouted at my kids." Fear of social isolation. Social scientists suggest shame can help maintain social relationships. It discourages behavior that violates a society's norms. Humans have a basic instinct to belong to social groups. This provides safety and access to shared resources. Historically, group membership has often improved our chances of survival. Within social settings, shame can arise from the perceived loss of others' esteem. This loss can feel like rejection, activating a fundamental human fear of isolation and vulnerability. Consequently, many people conform to social norms and expectations to minimize this risk. Shame can be a solitary experience. We might feel bad knowing others could judge our actions or inactions. Often, shame arises from self-judgment. We criticize ourselves even when we'd likely forgive someone else for the same behavior. For a friend, we'd readily acknowledge that everyone makes mistakes and no one is perfect. The difference between guilt and shame. Guilt and shame are distinct emotions. Guilt arises from doing something wrong, focusing on the action, "I did something bad," and can motivate positive change. Shame, however, is a negative feeling about your entire self, "I am bad," often leading to worthlessness and isolation. While guilt can be productive, shame is generally considered toxic. Understanding this difference helps process emotions, take responsibility without self-condemnation, and develop self-compassion. Perfectionism and shame. High self-criticism and perfectionism often lead to frequent experiences of shame. Perfectionists perceive anything less than flawless performance as a threat to their social standing. What are the consequences of shame? Persistent shame negatively impacts multiple facets of life. It damages self-esteem, emotional well-being, relationships, and both mental and physical health. Shame fosters a belief of inherent personal flaws, leading to self-distrust. This can manifest as anger, depression, or anxiety. People experiencing shame often react defensively to criticism, using anger to conceal their pain. Feelings of worthlessness, hypersensitivity, social anxiety, and loneliness can also arise. Furthermore, shame severely strains relationships. It encourages judgment, anger, and passive aggression, which gradually destroy trust. This can make it difficult to trust a partner, or even discourage forming new relationships. How can we overcome shame? Consistent shame can have insidious consequences, but it's possible to overcome this difficult feeling. The first step is to identify shame. Given that it can be largely unconscious, identifying, labeling, and monitoring shame are critical steps in resolving it. You can explore feelings of shame with a therapist, a friend, or in a journal for yourself, although it might hurt to acknowledge it first. Resolving shame often involves the practice of self-compassion. Self-compassion can improve the way we see ourselves and quiet our inner critic. Exercises may include writing a compassionate letter to yourself, which research shows can lower shame, self-criticism, and anxiety. Or writing a compassionate letter to yourself from the point of view of someone in a position of power over you, since shame involves feeling like others are evaluating you negatively. Loving kindness meditation is another tool. In this practice, you imagine loving yourself and others, and being open to receiving love. Finally, learning to forgive yourself, both past and present, is an important approach. Breaking the cycle of shame requires both individual and collective action. This effort leads to significant rewards, greater emotional resilience, healthier relationships, and a kinder world. By embracing this understanding, we free ourselves and future generations from inherited shame.